right, overlays. So overlays are just pretty much decals with transform capabilities. That's essentially all they are. They're very simple to apply. They have a few additional things that we can do with them. Um, like I said before, they're a little bit more expensive, so we don't want to use them uh, as our default option. But if you've got an area on your map where you need to rotate or scale, or mainly rotate or scale a decal, you would choose an overlay. So I've got, for this example, I've got four separate brushes right here. Okay, just regular brushes. So to do an overlay, I'm going to come to this tool right here, apply overlay. I'm going to come over to my texture tool, click browse, and then just like with a decal, you're going to type in decal and find whatever you're looking for. Now, I happen to know that I want a particular blood stain, so I typed in blood. But if you do that, if you search for blood or dirt, make sure it says decal, okay? So I searched for blood, and I'm looking for this blood stain decal right here. So I double click, loads it up into my current texture menu, and I'm going to click on a brush. Okay? So there, my overlay has been dropped. And what you'll notice is that it is cut off on the seams of this of the brushes. It's cut where the brushes are at. So that's the first thing about overlays, is we have to assign faces to it for it to work. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take our selection tool, we're going to double click on the overlay icon, this thing right here. Oops. So selection tool, double click, and it brings up this object properties info overlay. So this is the name of the overlay. You know, there's not a whole lot here to work with, but there is this one that says brush faces. So we're going to select brush faces, pick, and it's going to highlight the current brush face that this overlay is assigned to. You're going to hold down your control button, and on your keyboard it's, you know, like the CTRL button. You're going to hold down control, and I'm going to select any other brush faces that I need this blood stain to go onto. So I go to brush faces, pick, then I'm going to hold control and left click all the faces that I need it to go to. Okay, and you can see right here it's populating this box with the names of the brushes that it's on, or the brush faces, I guess. Okay, so I've selected all my brush faces. I'm going to click apply, and now the blood stain is allowed to go on all the different faces of these brushes. Now, with my selection tool, here's something else I can do with an overlay. I can scale it. So just like any other object except decals, I can grab this thing into corners and I can skew it, I can scale it, I can squeeze it to change the shape of it. I can also rotate it. So if I click on it until I get these little circle handles, so see how every time I click it, it changes? So when I see these circles, that means if I click the circle, I can rotate it. So decals aren't going to let you do that. Overlays will. So if I take my overlays, I can scale them and I can rotate them and get them exactly into the position I want. But the only trick with them is we have to choose our brush faces when we do that. So selection tool, double click, brush faces, pick, I hold control, I select all the faces I want. Once I do that, then I'm free to rotate, scale, stretch, do whatever you want to this thing. Alright, so your assignment today, add in some overlays with some of the larger decals, some of the, you know, dirt and stuff like that. If you feel like your light switches are too big, you can scale them. These things move around exactly the same way as decals, so you want to, you know, be careful that you're not moving them into a brush because they'll disappear. So you always want to kind of move them from the whatever flat plane they're on. You don't want to move them from the side, or if you can help it, because if I move this thing down into the brush, it becomes really difficult to get it back exactly where I want it. So you got to be careful of that. All right, so that's your overlays, almost just like decals, but a few extra features that give us a little more flexibility.